If you're listening to this at night, don't move. If you're listening during the day, listen all the way to the end. Because this story isn't about something that comes. It's about something that waits for you to fall asleep. Some people wake up at night with the feeling that there's someone else in the room. Most of them push that thought away immediately. But the person in this story made one mistake. He didn't look away. And from that moment on, he was never alone again. I lived alone. Not almost alone. Not temporarily alone. Completely alone. The apartment was small and old, and I knew every sound it made. I knew how the floor creaked near the kitchen, how the radiator hissed, how the fridge clicked in the middle of the night. That was the comfort of it. If I ever heard something new, I would notice immediately. The first time I felt it wasn't at night. It was in the evening. I was sitting at the table, reading, when a thought stopped me cold. I'm not alone in this apartment. There was no sound. No movement. Just that feeling you get when someone is standing too close behind you. I turned around. Nothing. I smiled to myself and blamed exhaustion. That night, I woke up for no reason. I just opened my eyes. The room wasn't completely dark. Faint light from the street leaked in from the hallway. I lay still, listening. And that's when I realized something was wrong. The apartment was too quiet. Not the normal nighttime quiet, but the kind of silence that feels intentional. As if someone was holding it in place. I focused on listening. And right then, I felt it again. Not a sound. Not a movement. A presence. Like someone standing in the room without moving. I didn't dare shift my body. It felt like if I did, I'd give myself away. Seconds passed. Or minutes. I don't know. Then the feeling disappeared as suddenly as it had come. I fell asleep near morning, convincing myself it had been a dream. The next night, I woke up again. This time I knew, with absolute certainty, that something was standing near the bedroom door. I hadn't heard footsteps. I couldn't see a shape. But I knew exactly where it was. Like my mind had marked a point in the darkness. I stared toward the door. It was slightly open, the way I'd left it. But the gap looked different. Smaller. As if the door had been nudged inward. I didn't get up. I didn't turn on the light. I just lay there, waiting for it to end. Night after night, the feeling returned. And every time, it was closer. First the hallway. Then the doorway. Then the corner of the room. I started leaving lights on, first in the kitchen, then the hallway, then the bedroom. But the light didn't help. The presence didn't disappear. It just became harder to notice, like something stepping just outside your focus. One night, I woke up and realized I could feel it even with my eyes closed. I knew exactly where it was without looking. And that's when the thought hit me, the one that truly scared me. I sense it so clearly. It's almost like it senses me too. I stopped sleeping properly. I started falling asleep during the day, with the TV on, lights on. At night, I tried not to sleep at all. But whenever I did fall asleep, I woke up the same way. Someone is already here. The climax came quietly. No sudden moment. No shock. I woke up and realized the presence wasn't in the room. It was closer. I lay completely still, afraid to finish the thought forming in my head. But I finished it anyway. It was right beside the bed. I didn't feel a touch. I didn't hear breathing. But I knew that if I reached out my hand, I wouldn't touch empty air. I didn't try. I lay there, holding my breath, and for the first time I wondered if I wasn't waking up because something was arriving, but because something had already been there for a long time, simply waiting for me to wake up. After that I moved out. Different place. Different walls. Different sounds. But one thing didn't change. Sometimes I still wake up at night with that same feeling. I tried to convince myself the new place would fix everything. New building. New neighborhood. Even a different floor. The floors didn't creak. The heating was quiet. The fridge barely made a sound. I memorized the way each room sounded, the way I used to. Knowing the space meant control. The first few nights were calm. I woke up from normal things: thirst, street noise, my own thoughts. And every time, I caught myself listening not for sounds, but for sensations. Waiting. Nothing happened. It almost annoyed me. Like a fear I'd grown used to had vanished and left behind an empty space. By the fifth night, I realized I couldn't fall asleep right away anymore. I lay in the dark, counting my breaths, not to calm myself, but to make sure I was still here. Still alone. The silence felt normal. Too normal. That night, I woke up suddenly again. No dream. No nightmare. Just open eyes. The ceiling was dark, and instantly I knew this wasn't the same silence. It was focused. Gathered. Like every sound had been carefully removed so it wouldn't interfere. I lay perfectly still, trying not to think. But the thought came anyway, sharp and unwanted. I can't feel the whole room. Like part of the space was missing. I didn't know where, I just knew it was there. I closed my eyes. And immediately I understood where it was. Not by the door. Not in the corner. Not in the hallway. Beside me. No touch. No warmth. No movement. Just absolute awareness of closeness. The kind you can't confuse with imagination. I opened my eyes. Nothing had changed. But the fear was different now. It wasn't frantic. It was calm. Collected. Like I was already too late to react. And then a new thought came, colder than the rest. What if it doesn't move around the apartment? What if it doesn't come and go? What if it's always here, and I only notice it when I wake up? I tried to move. Slowly. Almost imperceptibly. And the feeling changed. It didn't vanish. It didn't get closer. It reacted. As if my movement had been noticed. That's when I understood the worst thing of all. I don't wake up because of the presence. I wake up because I'm in the way. I stayed like that until morning. When the light came, the feeling faded. Not gone, just inaccessible. Like something stepping out of the shadows without leaving the room. I'm writing this during the day. Light coming through the window. Ordinary sounds. I know how this looks. I know what someone else would say. But some things don't need proof. You just know them. Tonight I'll go to sleep again. And I know I'll wake up. Not from noise. Not from a dream. I'll wake up the moment I'm unnecessary again. And maybe the worst part isn't the fear anymore. It's that with every night, I want less and less to find out whether there's really nothing there. Because if I ever reach out my hand, there won't be a way back. After that night, I kept pretending everything was under control. I woke up on time, went to work, talked to people, even laughed. But day by day, I started noticing something strange. It was getting harder to remember what I'd done in the evenings. Not blackouts. Not missing memories. More like the day ended without my permission. I started waking up not from fear, but from exhaustion. Not physical, something deeper. Like I'd spent the whole night holding a door shut while someone pressed against it from the other side. One morning, I found a cup on the table. Dirty. With a faint lipstick mark on it. I lived alone. And I knew one thing for sure. I don't drink from cups like that. That night, I heard the voice again. "You're taking too long," it said calmly. "Too long for what?" I asked. "To come back." I lay there and realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd fallen asleep afraid. The fear was gone. In its place was indifference. And beneath that, relief. That scared me more than anything else. "How long have you been?" I didn't finish. "Longer than you think," it said. "Not as long as I need." I tried to sit up. This time, I couldn't do it right away. My body responded, but with a delay. Like the command had to travel farther than it used to. "Are you taking me?" I whispered. The answer didn't come immediately. But when it did, I understood. This was no longer a voice outside me. "No," it said. "I'm just letting go." Breathing felt strange. Not difficult, unnecessary. You said you were a traveler between dreams? I said. That you come to people. I only come to those who linger, it replied. Those who don't rush to return. Those who realize that waking up is also a choice. The room began to lose definition. Not disappearing, dissolving. Like a memory no longer being held onto. The bed became a sensation. The walls became direction. My body became a shape I could still recognize. I don't want to disappear, I said. You won't, it answered. You'll just stop being attached. To what? To one body. One name. One night. I realized I wasn't lying down anymore. I was standing, without support. There was no light or darkness. Just depth. Layers of sleep overlapping each other. I could see, not with eyes, thousands of sleeping people. And between them, thin spaces where dreams didn't reach, but waking hadn't begun. This is between dreams? I asked. Yes, it said. This is where we become ourselves. Not human. Not shadows. Observers of the crossing. And you, who were you before? The pause was long. Not hesitation, distance. I was like you, it said. I once lay awake in the dark, convinced someone was near. And one night, I didn't come back all the way. Something inside me loosened. Not breaking, releasing. Fear. Tension. The need to control space, time, myself. What do we do here? I asked. We listen, it said. We sense the moment someone hesitates. When their mind can still return, or drift deeper. And do we influence them? No, it said firmly. We're not allowed to. We're only present. The choice is never ours. I understood then why it had always been calm. Why it never rushed. Why it never forced me. It wasn't a hunter. It was a guide without a path. And if someone asks, "Who are you?" I asked. Then we answer, it said. But never completely. Names create attachment. What about my life? I asked softly. People. Work. Days? They become a dream, it replied. Quiet. Without nightmares. You'll return there sometimes as memory. But you'll wake up here. I felt no regret. Only a deep, unfamiliar acceptance. Like I'd finally stopped hurrying. One day, it said, and I knew this was goodbye. You'll hear a new fear nearby. And someone will whisper in the dark. Is someone here? And what will I say? I asked. The answer was simple. The same thing they once said to you. Now, when someone wakes up at night with the feeling of a presence, I don't stand in the corner. I don't breathe beside them. I don't touch. I wait between seconds, between a heartbeat and the next thought. And if they don't move right away, if they let themselves stay just a little longer, I answer softly, from a place without names. You already know who I am. We all think we wake up alone. But sometimes, we're just coming back. If it's hard for you to fall asleep right after this story, don't worry. It means you're still here. But if you wake up tonight and feel someone's presence, don't move too quickly. Maybe someone is just waiting to see if you want to come back completely. Good night. While you're still waking up on your own.